Yep. I'm gonna take this thing off.
All right. Mr. Chad Gregory.
Yeah, he's here today. He's gonna be teaching here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get
Huh?
any notification or email. But anyway, he managed to get right on the board at work for all campuses, right?
Yeah.
Catch that. Got it from work. Leave the whatever he did, I don't know what he did. He left, pulled up PowerPoint, trying to start writing again, and it stopped working. And he's just like, "Can y'all see that? Can y'all?" I'm gonna write it big so I can see it.
I told all these teachers, I said, before you do the first class, you got to make sure you can go back and forth with the PowerPoints, with the whiteboard, with the, oh yeah, I can do it. Yeah. I can barely do it on a good day. Anyway, here is the question. We went over this in class. Negative 5 x squared minus 1/3 x plus 7 is equal to 0. Now you can go ahead and start on it. We did this in class, okay? Because the reason we did it in class, I know we did it in class, is because the homework and the test is not going to give you one that's difficult. All right? But the calculus class will. So let's go ahead and, can y'all see the board up there, Pendleton? Looks like somebody's got something written across the whiteboard.
They do. Can you read it?
Looks like winning.
No, it says warning. It says registering for class. It says in the pane and then it has an arrow and it says ask.
Only at Pendleton would somebody use a projector board for a whiteboard. That's pathetic. Anyway, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to write out every step. We got 4 problems to go over today. I'm going to write out every step because we are getting close to the test, okay? So I'm going to write out every single step. So here we go. 5x squared minus 1/3 x plus blank is equal to negative 7 plus blank. Now what's the next step? Take the negative what out? Factor out the negative 5. Now when you factor out a negative 5, you're dividing. Okay? So you're going to have to divide by 5 over 1, negative 5 over 1. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull a negative 5 out right here, and then I'm just going to divide by negative 5 over 1, negative 5 over 1, like that. Okay? And I'm just doing that to show you where I'm getting my answer. So that's going to be negative 5 parentheses, and this cancels with this, and this cancels with this. That leaves x squared. And then negative divided by negative is a positive. And when you divide a fraction by another fraction, you multiply by the what? Reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by negative 1 over 5. And that's going to give me what? 1/15 x plus blank is equal to negative 7 plus negative 5 times blank. Okay, now we got a is equal to 1, so that means we can do completing the square. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go 1 over 15, which is b, divided by 2, and I'm going to put 2 over 1. The reason I'm doing that is because I got to multiply by the reciprocal. So, and I'm going to square that. And then 1 over 15 multiplied by 1 over 2 and squared. And that's going to be 1 over 30 quantity squared, which is equal to 1 over what? 900.
Okay.
1 over 900. 1 over 900. All right, see if you can carry the next step using shortcut number 1 and using your law of fractions on the right-hand side. If you can't, we'll do it in just a second. Okay? Now, that's going to give us -5 times shortcut number, and I'm going to highlight this. This is shortcut number 1. That's going to be x plus 1 over 30, quantity squared, is equal to -7 over 1 plus -5 over 1 times 1 over 900. I'm putting every step in here. -5 times x. Hold on a minute. Time for the board to go stupid. -5 times x plus 1 over 30 Where's the other one? X plus 1 over 30, quantity squared, is equal to -7 over 1 plus well, 5 will go into 9 one time. That'll leave 40. And 0, somebody check 180. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so -1 over 180. -5 times x plus 1 over 30, quantity squared, is equal to, well, I've got to have a common denominator here, so I've got to have 180 and 180 minus, this is a minus. 1 will go into 180, 180 times, 180 times 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 60, somebody help me out.
That's correct.
And then this is 1. So that's going to be -5 times x plus 1 over 30, quantity squared, is equal to -1261 over 180. And now you're ready to write your vertex in your standard form down. You know our y-intercept is equal to 7. We know our vertex is -1 over 30, comma positive 1261 over 180. That's our vertex. I'm going to write it. I'm going to move this down if it'll let me. It probably won't let me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yep, that's what I figured. Just forget it. So I'm going to rewrite this as f of x is equal to negative 5 times x plus 1 over 30 quantity squared plus 1261 over 180. That is the standard form. We're not done yet. That's the standard form that they might ask for. Okay, so we've got our three things that we need. I'm going to put this in green. We need our y-intercept. There's our y-intercept. We need our vertex. And we need the standard form. And now we're going to get the x-intercepts. So negative 5 times x plus 1 over 30 quantity squared is equal to negative 1261 over 180. And I'm going to divide by negative 5. Well, when I divide by negative 5 over 1, I got to divide by this by negative 5 over 1. That's going to go out. X plus 1 over 30 quantity squared is equal to negative 1261 over 180 times negative 1 over 5. And that's going to give us x plus 1 over 30 quantity squared is equal to negative 1260, negative 1262, no, multiplied, dork, positive. Sorry, I was adding. It'd be 1261 over, and then we say 5 times 180 is equal to 1260. What is it? I don't know. Yeah,
900.
Okay, thank you. Now, I have no idea. Let's see. 10 is 1,000, right? 10 times 10 is 100. So 20 times 20 is 400. 30 times 30 is 900. 40 times 40 is 1,600. So 30, it's going to be 30. The square root of 1261 is what? I'm doing it in my head, and I don't know if I can do it or not, but let's see, 30 times 30 is 900, right? Mm-hmm. 40 is 1,600, 9 is 1,600, 700, 350. 350 is 1,250. So that would be between just give me a second. 30, I'd say around 35.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
It's 35.5, but yeah.
Okay, 35.5. So take the square root of both sides. X plus 1 over 30 is equal to positive or negative 35.5 over 30. I'm going to try. I don't know. This might work. I don't know. I'm going to try to move down here. Here. I don't believe it. Watch one little speck not be on here. Oh, I actually did it right. Dang, the Russians ain't into everything. Dang old Pocahontas. All right, so X is equal to positive or negative 35.5 minus 1 over 30. Okay, now it's got a lot of math here. 35.5 minus 1 is 34.5. 34.5 over 30. That's one x-intercept. And negative 36.5 over 30 is your other x-intercept. Well, I know for a fact that 30 will go into 34.5 one time. And then that leaves you with 45. 30 will go into 45 one time. And then that'll leave 15, 150. I think 1.15, somebody check that.
Yes.
Then negative one time, negative 1, that'll leave 65. 2.2, 3 going to be 50, and then 1 maybe. Y'all check me.
Yes.
So now you've got everything you need, because I'm going to take my handy dandy green highlighter and I'm highlighting my x-intercept. So I've got everything I need now to sketch my graph and find the domain range and all that good stuff. No sneezing, please. Sorry, what?
I can't see it.
Yeah, because of this stupid whiteboard. Like I said, it's damn Russians. White women. It's all about white women, like the Russians. Yeah. The white men tell them what to vote for, and they vote for them.
What does that smell?
First of all, have you ever tried to tell a woman to do anything?
No. I'm not done.
Exactly. That had to be the dumbest statement I think Hillary has ever made. The dumbest statement. Don't tell a woman how to do anything. Why? Because they already know everything. That's why. Right, women?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh yes.
Dang on perfection. You can't improve on perfection. When these males figure that out, their life will be a whole lot more easy, won't it?
How is it that you're not still?
Huh?
How is it that you're
I just got tired of working all the time. I just got tired of the laziness. That's what I got tired of.
Secret to a healthy relationship? That's the secret to a healthy relationship?
Yeah.
Lie.
No, the secret to a relationship is for both people to work at it. That's the secret to a
Lying
relationship.
to each other.
I better be quiet.
That would have no truth.
I'm working 3 jobs for 22 years. Got old for a while. All right. So if this thing would go away, there. 0, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's see. Negative 1 over 30 is a small attitude decimal. You can't see through muddy water. So 1 over 30, you don't have to. Do you have to really worry about where 1 over 30 is? No. It's very, very, very small. So just go to the left of the y-axis just a little bit. And now 1261 over 180, yeah. You need to know what that is, because 10 would be 1800, 5 would be 900. So it's going to be negative 6. I'm looking. Looks like around 7, maybe 7, negative 7. Somebody help me out. What's 1261 divided by 8? 180.
It's about 7.005. So.
Okay, it's a little bit above 7. It's got to be because of the y-intercept. So there's my point 1 over 33 right here and then up. So it's going to be right in here. And then 1.15. 1, 2, 1, 2. So 1.15 would be right in here. And negative 1.21 be right in there. So it looks like to me we got a graph. Wow, it's opening downward. How do we know it's going to open downward?
Because it has the negative.
The negative 5. We're going to take a handy dandy red highlighter, highlight that negative 5, because that tells us that it's opening which way? It's
Down.
opening downward. Okay? And we have x-intercepts because of this, and we will highlight this. I'm trying to go over everything that we've learned in these questions today, so y'all won't complain. Not that y'all would complain or bitch, but, you know. Yeah, you're still going to complain, exactly. Just like a woman, you're just going to complain. All right, so that blue right there tells us, that positive tells us that we have two x-intercepts. What if that was a negative number? You don't have x-intercepts. If you have a negative under the radical, that means you don't have what? X-intercept. What if you had a 0 under the radical? That means that the vertex and the x-intercept are the same number as sitting on the x-axis. So remember I told you that. Let's write that down. It's called the discriminant. Square root of a positive means what? 2 x-intercepts. Square root of a negative, no x-intercepts. And you got to write the answer in terms of what? I. Square root of a 0 means that it's sitting on the what? On the x-axis. So remember that. What else? Oh, we got to write the domain right. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. The vertex, we got it in green, so we'll circle the vertex in green. There's the vertex. So, domain. Domain on all of these is going to be all real numbers, so if you get the domain wrong, do not tell anybody after the test, because then you're hanging a sign around your neck that says, I have no idea what I'm doing. Domain is equal to all real numbers. The range. The range is from negative infinity to my y of my vertex, which is negative, or 1261 over 180. Okay, and that can be, since we're going to that point, that would be a bracket. Increasing. Increasing from negative infinity to your x, which is negative 1 over 30. And decreasing, because it doesn't go up or down, from negative 130 to what? Positive infinity, Hubert. And then the line of symmetry is x is equal to negative 130. Line of symmetry, x is equal to negative 1 over 30. Now I put in every single step that I know to put in. Who's got a question?
You're required to put all those test questions?
No, you don't have to put in all the steps, no.
No, I mean like...
Well, there's no telling what I'll ask for.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time I just ask for the whole thing, for everything. But I don't want to have to work myself to death. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, so just be prepared. That's why I tell all of you, when you do a complete in the square, you don't do a certain part, you do all of it. And that way, if I test you on it, you won't have anything to worry about.
What did you say
Anybody
about,
got a question? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
On, like, in the top right where the cloud is, what did you say about sitting X? I missed that part.
Where the green cloud is?
No, not the green cloud, on the right, where it's like square root of a positive, square root of a negative.
Okay, let me go to another screen, please. No. I really don't like you, so
I know.
hurry
I
up.
still got a teacher.
No, I don't. I can do like other teachers and just gaff you off and not even worry about you. Give you an F.
Like your car on fire.
What?
I didn't say that.
We'll go over that on another screen so I can show you what it means.
I got it.
Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Square root of a positive means that you've got a parabola. And what is that parabola doing? It's crossing the what?
X-axis.
It's crossing the x-axis how many times?
Twice.
Twice. So that means two x-intercepts. Okay, that's what that means. So the square root of 121 over 2, the square root of 4, the square root of 121.6. If you get the square root of a positive number, that means that you have two x-intercepts, and you need to find those two x-intercepts. Okay? If I have the square root of a negative number, that means that your parabola is basically what? It's floating. What do you mean it's floating? It's in one of the quadrants, but it's not doing what? It's not touching or crossing the what? It's not crossing the x-axis. It's out there floating. So when you take the square root of a negative, you don't have any x-intercepts. You will have the answer in terms of what? I, because you're taking the square root of a negative number. So the square root of negative 3 is 3i. Okay? The square root of x over 4 is equal to the square root of x over 2. Okay? Or negative, that'd be I. There we go. All right? So, in other words, when you get the square root of a negative, you know at this point, know what? No x-intercepts. But do you stop there? No, because you have to write your answer in terms of what? I. We've done that. We've done several problems like that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is the square root of 0. If you come out with the square root of 0, that means the vertex and the x-intercept are what? The same number. So it's sitting on the x-axis. So you have this, or you have this. I can't get it to touch it no matter what, I tried. Or this right here, or this right here. Basically, the vertex and the x-intercept is the same what? It's the same thing. So it's sitting on the x-axis. So you only have one x-intercept. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
And also, you know, when you're in pre-algebra, and they give you the square root of 2, 2 is called the radicand. But when you use it in the context of a graph, this number right here is called not the radicand, but the discriminant. Okay? In pre-algebra, when you're just talking about a number, it's called the radicand. Because it's under the what? It's under the radical. But in the context of a graph, it's called the discriminant. And the discriminant tells you whether you have one x-intercepts, whether you have two x-intercepts, or whether you have no x-intercepts. Okay, so if you see the word discriminant, and they put it on standardized tests, what's the discriminant of the following function? And it'll give you the square root of negative 4. And you say negative 4. Negative 4 is the discriminant. Okay, so if you ever see that question on a test, what is the discriminant of the following function? And they give you y is equal, or blah, blah, blah is equal to negative 4, square root of negative 4. You say negative 4 is the discriminant. It's also called the radicand, but you can use the words interchangeably. Any other questions? All right, let's go to the email questions. I still see people writing. I'll make sure everybody's got question. Okay. Next question. You got it, Mr. Bates? Homework questions we got. I got one question. No, I did have a question. We'll start from 3.3 or 3.2 right here. these questions come from? They weren't up here a while ago. I think y'all are sabotaging me. All right, let's see, 3.4, okay, here's 3.2, 7, 7. Those are the same question. 3.2, 21, and 55. So we'll go with 7 first. All right. Miss Baker, are you there? And Miss,
Yeah.
is it Kynard or Kennard?
Kinder.
Okay, Kynard. All right, we're going to do both of yours. This is 3.2, number 7 in the book, number 2 online. First, let me tell you if it's a test question. If it ever, oh yeah, it's a test question. Of course, I won't ask it like this, but this is a test question. So, let's do completing the square. Write it down right quick, Miss Hawthorne, and I'm going to put it on the whiteboard, and I'll rewrite it. Got it? Okay. All right, what is it?
Negative x
Negative x?
minus 3x.
Negative x squared
Yes, sorry.
minus 3x
3x plus 1.
plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, that's basically what they gave us. So we're going to take that and we're going to complete the square. I'll start you off. Negative x squared minus 3x plus blank is equal to negative 1 plus blank. All right, y'all start. Factor out to negative 1. Anytime you see a quadratic with a negative or a fraction, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll test you on it. So make sure you make a note of those. Factor out a negative 1. That's just going to change the signs. And that's going to give you a negative 1 out front. X squared plus 3x plus blank is equal to negative 1 plus a negative 1 times blank. Now, I'm going to, just for your purposes, I'm going to change this color of this negative 1 I factored out to red. So you will remember to multiply right here. Okay? Whatever you factor out, you multiply on the right-hand side. Okay? So, what is half of 3? 3 halves. So you take 3 halves, and what do you do with it? Square it. What's 3 halves squared?
9/4.
9/4. And you put that there and there. And that's going to give you negative 1 times x squared plus 3x plus 9/4 is equal to, and I'm going to do it step by step for you, negative 1 minus 9/what? 4. Remember, negative 1 is the multiplicative, or 1 is the multiplicative identity. So negative 1 only changes the signs of everything. It doesn't change the quantity. So you can just change the signs. You really don't have to do anything to change the signs when you factor or multiply through by negative 1. So let me make that a little bit smaller.
So when you get the 9/4 over
Yes.
there, why is it still positive?
Hold on a second.
Multiplying it all by negative 1, or is that just the x squared minus 3x?
You're talking about right here?
Yes, sir, on the other
Right here.
side.
Because you square it. Whenever you square something, what does it do?
She's talking about the sign.
Like the, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you put in here. Okay? When you square it, you always get a what? You always get a positive. So that positive goes there, and it goes there.
Yeah, that's
What?
like when you factored out the negative 1, the x squared and the 3x became positive.
This is a 0, really.
Oh, okay.
That's a 0. If I factor out a negative 0, what's that going to, it's not going to give you anything, so it really doesn't matter.
I got you.
Okay? You're trying to think. Don't think. Remember, when you start thinking, you start messing up stuff, okay? So don't start thinking. That's a joke. It's a joke, okay? For those of you without a sense of humor. All right? So negative 1. X plus Miss Shuttleworth, she's very sarcastic. Is equal to, she's going to make a good wife one day, is equal to negative 4/4 minus what? 9/4. Now's when everybody says, where did 4/4 come from? I don't know. I just pulled it out of the air. You don't have to have a common denominator. X plus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to negative what? 13/4.
And you got the 3/2 because that's the square root of 9/4.
Yes, shortcut number 1. You take the square root of this term, the square root of that term, a plus b, quantity squared. Good. Whoever said that, you made a revelation. Thank you. It makes, hey, that means somebody's learning something. That's good. All right, so at this point, you can do 2 or 3 things. We know that our, no, I don't want to do that. We know that our handy-dandy y-intercept is right there. We know that our vertex is negative what? Negative 3/2. So I'm going to go up here and write negative 3/2, comma, positive 13/4. And that's our vertex. And if we need to write it with our pinky up, it'll be f of x is equal to negative 1 times x plus 3/2 quantity squared plus 13/4. And that is the general intercept form that the books and academia like to put it. Okay? So we got all that information. Now we just got to find our x-intercepts. Do we have x-intercepts? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, we do. A lot of people would say, no, we got a negative. What happens to that negative 1 when we divide over here? Makes it what?
No.
Makes it positive. And when it makes it positive, that means we got x-intercepts. So we take our handy-dandy formula and we put it up here. Negative 1, x plus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to negative 13/4. When we divide through by negative 1, that makes x plus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to 13/4. And now we feel good about ourselves because we have a positive number right here, so we can take the square root of it. And that's going to give us x plus 3/2 is equal to positive or negative square root of 13 over 2. Now I'll show you a trick I learned in the war. You take the square root of 9 and you take the square root of 16 and you find where this falls between the square root of 9 and the square root of 16. 9 and 16 is what? 7? Take that away, it's 7. Half of 7 is 3.5. 3.5 added to 9 is 12.5. So 12.5 is going to be 3.5. So I'm going to take a guess and say this is positive or negative 3.6. Somebody check
That's
it.
correct.
Yes.
It's a miracle.
It is a miracle.
3.6 over 2. Mom spelled backwards is mom. So minus 3 over 2. And somebody tell me what $3.60 minus $3 is.
60 cents.
And what's half of 60 cents?
30 cents.
It's a miracle. And what you owe somebody $3.60, and you owe somebody $3, you owe somebody what?
$6.60.
And what's half of $6.60?
$3.30.
I'm so impressed. Now, let's make that all small now that we've got what we need. Because we've got our x-intercepts now. We're going to make that small because we don't want to flip to another page. So I pray that this stylus will stay where I want it to stay. There we go. Group. One of these days we're going to get training on these things. There we go. All right, so let's take our handy-dandy virtual graph and let's graph this guy. What's our y-intercept? Now let me get rid of this. What's our y-intercept?
Positive.
1.
Our x-intercept is 0.3, which is, that's 1. 0.3 would be right in here. And negative 3.3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right in there. And our vertex is negative 3/2, which is negative 1/2, and 3 1/4. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Looks like to me everything lines up. Why is it open and downward? Because we have a what here? You have a negative 1 range. So let's do our domain and range. Domain is equal to all reals, because all of these are going to be all reals. Range is going to be from negative infinity to our y on our vertex, 13/4. It includes the vertex because it stops there. Okay? I mean, it includes the y, so I put a bracket. Increasing from negative infinity to your x, which is negative 3/2. And then it is decreasing from negative 3/2 to what? To infinity. And the line of symmetry always goes through the what? The x of the vertex. So the line of symmetry is x is equal to negative 3/2. And that's your line of symmetry if anybody ever asks. Maybe a standardized test. And that's how you do that question. So, Miss Kennard and I don't forgot who else sent it. Who else sent this one? There was 2 people that sent this one. Does that help?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, now let's take a second. Mr. Blake, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to make it transparent, and that's the question, and of course you can answer anything on it now because you've done everything that you need to do. I'm not going to type it in, but check to make sure that our answers line up with theirs. I know this one is right because it's got a little green mark, it's got a little red mark, so that's the right answer right there. Did ours check to be that? Okay, so let's get out of that and go to the next question. Okay, that was Miss Baker and Miss Kennard. So let's go with we don't have a 3, yeah, we got a 3.3 right here. 3.3, 47/2. This is 47 in the book, number 21 online. So this is your number 21 online. And as soon as y'all write it down, oh yeah, we should quit on this one. Why? Why should we quit?
Fractions.
It's a fraction, and we can't do fractions. So we might as well just quit. What should you do? When the trash stinks, what do you do with it? Take it
Throw it
out.
away.
So what do you do with the fractions when you don't want to deal with them? What do you do with them? You give up. Good job. You get an A for the course. Multiply through by the what? Common what? Denominator. Okay, I want you to go ahead and write that down, and then I'm going to flip over to the whiteboard so we can use the whole board and not have to worry about the... So, write that down. It's, for those that can't see, x squared over 14 minus x over 7 is equal to 1. That's what it looks like. So I'm going to give you, it's 10:24 right now, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get it started. If you can't do it in 2 minutes, then you're pretty much a failure.
What number did you say this is in the homework?
I'm sorry, what?
Never mind.
You don't want to talk to me, is that it? I understand.
No, I already know the answer.
Oh, good.
What I was asking. No, not to that.
You already know the answer to your question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to take it over to the whiteboard. I could copy and paste it, but I just might as well just rewrite it because Miss Hawthorne's going to tell me what it says. All right, so x squared over 14. I at least remember that part. Well, there we go. X squared over 14, Miss Hawthorne, what's the next? Make x over 7 equals 1. So I'm going to multiply through. I'm going to take my handy dandy blue marker because I'm trying to animate this for y'all, so y'all might learn something. And I'm going to multiply by 14 over 1. Why? What's the common denominator of 7 and 14? 107. Yeah. No. What? What'd you say? 14. I'm just going to put this extra step in there for y'all. Put a baby step in there. And what happens to the 14? Right here. And that leaves you with x squared. And what happens here? 2x plus blank is equal to 14 plus what? Blank. Now you're ready. Do you have to factor anything out?
No.
No. Why not?
Because there's nothing attached to the x squared.
Because a is equal to what? 1. When a is equal to a positive 1, that means I'm fired. When a is equal to positive 1, somebody done found out about the red Solo cup. The green mixer bottle. Somebody done found out. Hubert, I'm concerned. We must have a meeting. Okay. I hate those emails. Not I hate emails. Greg, you don't get none of those, do you? You don't get any of those, I'm concerned. Yeah, human contact. That's a good way to be. All right, so what's half of 2? Get your calculators out. 1 squared is?
1.
Oh God, this one is too easy. This is not a test question. Actually, it is. This is, when I said it was an easy question, I didn't mean it from here. From here, what do students do when they see that on the test? They flip out or they what?
Skip.
Quit. They skip it or they quit. Clear the fraction. Just like I told y'all, maybe I told y'all before. When you go to a hotel, when you got kids and you got a family and everything, you don't stay on the 15th floor. You stay on the 1st floor. Anybody tell me why? Because the daddy is the pack rat. I mean, he's the pack mule, okay? He has to carry everything for the beach, to the pool, to the room, from the room, to the pool, from the room, to the vehicle, everything he has to carry. So, when a family goes you try to stay on the 1st floor. So you try to keep everything on the 1st floor. So when you see 2 stories like this, you put it on the 1st floor. And this is what you want. You want everything on the 1st floor. So this is a very common question that is usually avoided or skipped on a test. And all you have to do is clear a fraction. So that's going to give you shortcut number 2, which is x minus 1 quantity squared is equal to 15. What's our vertex?
1, negative 15.
Good job. And of course, hold your pinky up. F of x is equal to x minus 1 quantity squared minus 15. And that's the little way that they want it in the book. And your y-intercept is negative 14. Yes, negative 14 because it'll be a negative. So the y-intercept is 0, negative 14. And all you got to find now is the what? The x-intercept. Uh-oh, what happened to... Y'all still there, Anderson? Pendleton? Oconee? Wow, I've never seen that happen before. Have you, Chad?
It's because I'm in the room.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Before you hear them, but they
Well, I don't even hear them. Miss Whiten, are you there? Okay, I'm just gonna go out, and of course, the only thing about Pendleton is they'll be offline for 20 minutes.